Welcome back to the Citystead. I'm Josh. This is E, cool cat on the block. She's here to help us. Today we're gonna do a raised bed. We're gonna fill in this one little tiny corner blank spot that's just odd looking in the garden area. We're gonna dig a raised bed, or actually we're gonna build a raised bed, and then we're gonna try to fill it for absolutely free. So first things first, we have to actually build our little frame that we're going to use for our raised bed. Now, we don't have to necessarily build a frame for this, but I'm going to because it'll mesh better into the garden, and I just kind of like the frame a little bit, the way it looks. So I'm going to go do that, and then we're going to get some digging done. You ready to dig? All right.
Perfect.
Yes, perfect. Perfection's all we do here.
No, it's not.
All right, so now we have a good, nice sized raised bed. What do you think? You lay down in this thing. If this was the Titanic and this was a door, we would both be safe. Shovel time. So the first key to a really awesome raised garden bed is we're actually gonna dig down. Are you guys ready for your GDP digging montage? Are you ready for a digging montage?
I don't even know what that means.
It just means a whole bunch of digging.
Okay.
With some music.
Okay.
And shenanigans. Tomfoolery. Joking around. Any of these words make any sense to you?
Not really.
Alright. Dig on! So the first thing we did was just kind of mark about where it's going to be on the outside edge. Now we're going to take that top layer of sod off and we're going to set that to one side.
Do that.
Don't give up. Alright, so we got the top layer of sod off and we set a little bit of it over here, and then you can see E has a giant pile over there. It's a good sized pile. So we did the sod because we want to do it in separate layers. The sod is going to go toward the bottom of our hole after we dig it. Now I'm going to take all this dirt here and I'm going to dig as far down as I can because I really want to have a lot of nice rich soil on top of the bed. I want to have around 6 to 8 inches of just pure soil if I can. And then I'm going to show you how we're going to fill it to help us build up a much better, much more sustainable bed in the future. We're doing this hugelkultur style, of course. You're in the deep hole, you're in the deep hole.
Wait.
All right, step 2, we dug down good 6 to 8 inches-ish. There's a lot of roots because of that big old tree right there. So now I'm gonna go fill it up with all sorts of stuff from the yard, basically just a bunch of yard debris. We're gonna use leaves, we're gonna use some trimmings from the bushes on the side of the garage there. I trimmed them all the other day. So fresh green, we got the leaves, which are sort of decomposing, kind of like a brown material. And then we're gonna put a bunch of branches in here and broken dead sticks and logs from all over the place, and that's also going to be part of the hugelkultur mound. It is going to build up and it's just going to break down and it's going to release lots of nutrients, lots of good stuff into that soil, and that's what makes a hugelkultur bed so good, is that as it's getting older and older, it's getting more and more nutrients inside of it. So pretty exhausted from digging that hole. I gotta go find the sticks, start digging in, start filling it in. Kids are gonna go get leaves. They're gonna bring them over here, and then we're gonna get the branches from the bushes that we trimmed, throw them on top. Don't run into your sissy. All right, fill it up with leaves, bring it back.
Wheelbarrow over here. I can want it. Okay. Everett, we gotta get some more. See, it's not full yet. Let's go get some more. Oh, are we the king and queen? Yeah. Why did the king and queen fight? Each other. Why did they not like each other? Because they live in the same castle. Because they hate each other. Why do they hate each other? Because the mosquito bites.
Okay, so we finally filled it up. We got a bunch of branches, leaves. We got some green stuff from the trees I trimmed. That's a good base for it. That's the hugelkultur heart of it all right there. As this stuff breaks down and compost, it's gonna build a really good soil. So now I'm gonna take that sod layer that we took off and put it on next. Oh, ready? All right, so we got all that sod back on top of there now. That is actually gonna be used to weigh down some of those branches and leaves and all that. Kind of mush everything down. We can jump on that a little bit better. The next layer, we're gonna do cardboard as a weed block to make sure we don't get a bunch of weeds in this bed. All right, I gotta go grab the cardboard. Who's running the show now?
Me.
She's in charge.
Wheel away.
Okay, something I like to do is toss some water on there, kind of hold that cardboard down, get it started in the deterioration process. So I'm gonna probably throw a couple buckets of water on there, just get it all soaked and nice before I start throwing on the top layer of soil. You ready?
That scared me.
How'd it look? All right, very last step of the raised bed. We just gotta fill it back up with all this soil that we dug out, this giant mound of soil. It's gonna take a minute, but the way I did it with the hugelkultur also is I stacked a lot of that bigger branches in the middle of it, so it still creates somewhat of a mound. And now we're gonna fill the bed up, and if there's enough, we should see a little bit of a curve at the top, but not a ton. It's still going to be a hugelkultur style. It's just slightly modified. I've done this a few other times for a few other beds, and it's been very successful. We had some of the best strawberry plants I've ever seen on our property through a hugelkultur bed, and we actually have garlic planted in a couple of them, and it's doing amazing. So I really believe in this style of type of urban type of hugelkultur bed, just using a lot of scrap that you have around your yard to, you know, make a raised bed for really cheap.
This whole tray right here is filled with only sunflowers. And as you can see, they're all sprouting. I guess not all of them. We have all these plants. And guess who's eating all of them? Well, Oscar says what brother does, I must do too.
All right, guys, that is how you make
a very cheap raised bed.
So as you guys can see, hugelkultur style, this is a very true hugelkultur. definitely higher in the middle than it is the ends. As it breaks down, you know, it'll kind of flatten out a little bit. And usually people use these as perennial beds. We're going to plant a bunch of annuals on here, and they're going to be just fine. And we might do some perennials too eventually, but for now this year it's probably just going to be an annuals bed because there's going to be a short life on the nutrition in it, right? So as that stuff breaks down and breaks down and breaks down, it gets more and more built up in the soil, the quality of the soil. So actually these boards that I use were 2x6s, they're 8 foot long. I used 3 of them at about $3.75, so this bed really cost me like 12 bucks to make. Really, you could do it completely free. You don't need the wood. I purely did that as a cosmetic thing, just to kind of match the rest of the garden. But we could absolutely have built this bed for free with just the debris falling in our yard, reusing materials that are already given to us and rich in all sorts of minerals and nutrients. So that's it. That is a super sweet, easy way to make yourself a really nice raised bed that's going to build your soil quality and last for many, many years. All right, so we actually did this bed as a collaboration video. So Farmer Jay, a friend of mine, is putting together a whole bunch of lists of all sorts of different raised bed. I will put a playlist down below, and you can see how all the different homesteaders and gardeners are out there, how they make their raised beds. This is how we do ours. I like this hugelkultur style. It uses a lot of stuff that falls in my yard, extra debris, all sorts of good stuff. And it's super cheap to make and super efficient. So that's one of the things I really use it for. It's my kind of go-to bed now. I got a bunch of them all over the yard. Super good. Just love it the way how easy it is to make, and just being able to reuse a bunch of the stuff, all the fallen branches, leaves, all that kind of stuff. So check out that playlist, check out Farmer Jay's channel. She's got all sorts of good gardening stuff. And remember guys, be bold and grow bold, and I'll see you in that very next video.